Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nandayana binti Ahmad Yusof, and my student ID is 2019475788, and I'm come from group AM22860.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nuramira binti Zulkarnain, and my student ID is 2019476032, and I'm from group AM22860. First and foremost, we will start with research background. There were approximately 281 million migrants in the group in 2020, accounting for around 2.4% of the worldwide population. The growth in foreign migrants has been noticeable throughout time, both statistically and academically, occurred at a little higher rate than was previously predicted. The concept of the impoverished and rural migrants crossing into successful must finish later. Mostly the poor migrants do not have intention away from war and poverty and choose to stay in their country. Therefore, it is crucial for any country to think about migrants into their countries, either for the sake of the migrants or for the indigenous community. As a result, the researchers study in order to know why foreign migrants come to Malaysia, and whether Malaysia has a negative or positive perception of migrants. That is whether there is a positive impact that comes from foreign migrants who choose to stay in Malaysia. First and foremost.
Next, as moving to the problem statement of the research, national identity is divided into three different parts, which is culture, religion, and legal system that could influence the public perception toward the foreign migrants. From the culture perspective, foreign culture brought in by foreigners throughout the migration process to Malaysia have resulted in culture clash between foreign and local culture, which could bring a bad impression to the citizens. In terms of religions, also could be threatened by the foreign migrants, which is according to Muhammad 2015, the presence of party Perdata Asing Tempat Izin indirectly disturb a big part of nations' social system and people's lives, since they bring a culture, way of life, and religion or belief that distinct from what is practiced in this country. Lastly, in the terms of legal system, citizenship by naturalization has been offered to the foreign migrants that have been staying in Malaysia for over 12 years to become a citizen. As mentioned in the study of Heller, stated that the citizenship is a part of national identity and also a sense of belonging. The citizenship by naturalization issue may influence the perception of the public that foreign migrants endanger the national identities. Next, we are now moving to the research question that consists of three questions, which is what is the level of public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in endangering national identities? The second one is what is the relationship between determinative of national identities, which is culture, religion, and legal system, and public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in endangering national identities. And the last one is what is the main determinative of national identities that influence the public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in endangering national identities. We move to the research objectives. There is three research objectives, which is the first one is to examine the level of public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in endangering national identities. Then, the second one is to measure the relationship between the determinative of national identities, which are culture, religion, and legal system, and public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in endangering the national identities. And the last one is to identify the main determinative of national identity that influence the public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in endangering the national identities.
Moving forward, we will discuss about the conceptual framework. From the table besides, we can see that there is direct relationship between three independent variables, which is culture, religion, and legal system, between dependent variable, which is public perception on foreign migrants endangering national identities. Next, I will continue to explain on the research methodology. We use quantitative research methodology for our research design. For unit of analysis, we focus to those people who live in Seremban. The sample size for this study was 250 respondents, which specifically stay in Seremban state, as well as come from different age, gender, type of employment, and level of education. In addition, we use probability sampling, purposive sampling, as well as convenience samplings for our sampling technique, and Likert scale had been used as our data measurement. The data of this research were gained from survey of questionnaires, which been divided into 5 sections. Lastly, the data analysis used in this study was descriptive analysis, Pearson correlation, and multiple regression.
At this slide, it shows the hypotheses of this research study, which are the first hypothesis is there is significant relationship between the culture and the public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in during the national identities. The second hypothesis is there is significant relationship between religions and public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in during the national identities. And the last one is the third hypothesis is there is significant relationship between the legal system and the public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in during the national identities. Now we are at the finding part. As the panel can see that here the result of demographic profile, the highest of the respondent in the study is the male respondent with the frequency of 130 respondent with the percentage of 52%. Now we move into the age of respondents. The respondent with the age between 19 to 23 and 34 to 28 years old are the highest respondent that share the same percentage, which is 25.2%. Next, the level of education of the respondent come from bachelor degree, hold the high frequency, which is 70 per respondent with the 28%. And for the types of employment of the respondent that were in public sector record as the highest respondent with 30.8%. Now we are at the hypothesis testing. Hypothesis 1 to examine the level of public perception on the existence of foreign migrant in Nigerian national identities. The results show that the mean is 4.1990 and falls under the high level. So the decision here is the level of public perception on the existence of foreign migrants is on the high level. The second hypothesis is to measure the relationship between the culture and the public perceptions on the existence of foreign migrants in and during the national identities, with the result of R according to 0.632 and the p-value is 0.000 and the decision is H1 is accepted. Hypothesis 3 to measure the relationship between the religion and the public perception on the existence of foreign migrant in and during the national identities. The R recorded 0.332 and the p-value is 0.000, so that the H2 is accepted. The next hypothesis is to measure the relationship between the legal system and the public perception on the existence of foreign migrant in and during the national identities with the R of 0.431 and the p-value is 0.000 and the H3 is accepted. And the last hypothesis is to identify the mandated motive of national identity that influence the public perception on the existence of foreign migrants in and during the national identities. The result shows that the beta value of the culture is the highest value, which beta value of 0.589 and show the culture is the mandated motive of national identities that influence the public perception toward migrants in Seremban.
The first recommendation that can be taken is to widen the area of research. This is because in this research, researchers only focus on public people who live in the Seremban area to gain respondents and answer the questionnaire. In order to get the findings more accurate and reliable, researchers can collect the data and distribute the questionnaire widely, such as to the public who stay in Negeri Sembilan state in order to get a variety of respondents. Secondly, quantitative research gathers data from ongoing and prospective respondents using the survey methods and the distribution of online questionnaires and surveys. However, this method may come out with a variety of respondents in Seremban and may give difficulties to researchers in order to analyze the findings. Hence, by using a qualitative approach, it can help researchers to raise the level of comprehension between respondents and the accuracy of the data being gathered. Moving forward, interviews are also suitable to be conducted in this research topic. Thirdly, researchers may find another platform in order to distribute the questionnaire. For example, email or official email can be used to distribute the questionnaire, as most of the time, people will check on their email frequently. By doing this, the possibility for researchers to get the feedback from the public as soon as possible is high if able to distribute the questionnaire whether in WhatsApp apps or email. Next, we will move forward to the limitation of study and future research suggestion. First and foremost, quantitative research leads to limitations of sample size. In order to carry out quantitative research, the sample size must be in a large number of respondents. This is because researchers have to gather the sample from people's opinion to get the information, which will then be defined as those of the overall population. A significant number of people must be approached in order to achieve a reasonable view or amount of the sample population. Hence, the future suggestion for this limitation is researchers should obtain a large number of respondents to answer the questionnaire. The large number of respondents will help researchers to get a realistic figure of the population. Moving forward, the second limitation faced by researchers was limited results. Since quantitative research has multiple choice questions in the questionnaire survey, therefore, in general, the outcome findings do not always adequately represent what actually takes place. Indirectly, the variety of answers from the respondents will cause the researcher to receive a variety of answers that can cause difficulties for the researcher to study, as well as analyze the data and discuss the findings. Thus, the future suggestion that can be improved for this limitation is by mixing up closed-ended question and open-ended question for respondents. To develop a great and viable survey as well as obtain high-quality data, it's really essential to comprehend closed-ended and open-ended questions. Lastly, the limitation found while doing the research was limited resources of secondary data. This research seems to have limited resources as the topic of foreign migrants has not had much research done by previous researchers. Besides, this topic is also quite difficult to access the relevant data on the internet. Further, some of the secondary data lack of relevance and do not really provide the answer or information needed by the researchers, as well as need to be careful when employing approximately research findings from another study to the researcher's study. Hence, the future suggestions for this limitation are carried out by having an interview with the public. The interview either can be conducted through face-to-face or give response over the phone, and usually, interviews are conducted to facilitate the researcher to get the right answer by giving an overview to the respondents about the study being conducted. To be concluded, this research was carried out to examine the public perception on foreign migrants in Seremban. This study is being carried out to discover whether the existence of foreign migrants endangered the national identities in Malaysia. Further, this research intends to examine the level of public perceptions on the existence of foreign migrants in endangering national identities, to measure the relationship between the determinative of national identity, which include culture, religion and legal system, and public perception on foreign migrants, as well as to identify the main determinative of national identity that influence the public perceptions. Based on the findings and discussion, researchers have determined and discovered that culture is the main determinative that influences the public perception on foreign migrants in Seremban. That's all from us. Thank you.